this is Erica. How may I help you?
Hi, can I get a large hot coffee with cream and sugar?
Here you go.
Thank you. So it's really interesting that you asked that. That's something that I've been talking to Sydney and Joey about, you know, because we've done a hard push at Agency Nation and we've been watching people, watching Woody Brown and Jared Bellman and that kind of stuff. So I think, so here's my take on that question. At a certain point, it's every piece of video has to add value, right? Doing video for video's sake is actually a negative, not just a neutral, but an actual negative, because now you're wasting people's time, right? You go off on a tangent or pontificate on a podcast, people will give you that because they're most likely doing something else. You do the same thing on a blog post, they'll just skip it and move on. But if they've invested the time and attention in a video, they've given you both their audio and their visual. It is the most intense digital experience outside of maybe going AR or VR, right? So that being the case, you have to respect that, and when you publish a video, in my opinion, it's got to add value. And I've been thinking really hard about going to a daily, 60-second dailies, because I don't blog as much anymore. But I'm really struggling with, I shouldn't say struggle is the wrong word, but I'm taking a lot of time to consider this, because I do not want to pump out a 60-second video on Tuesday that doesn't give you something of value, right? Because I don't want you to give me your attention and then be like, fuck, this is worthless. Guess who's back? All right, here's the backstory on today. So it's been a fairly emotional day, you can say. It started out pretty good. Left the house, had some meetings here in Hartford, which is where I am right now. And the truth is, pretty standard day. But last night, Gary Vaynerchuk tweeted out that he was looking for insurance speakers. And Nick Ayers, the wonderful, tremendous, fantastic Nick Ayers, tweeted back that I should be the guy that he picks to speak at his insurance conference down in Miami. Blown away. I mean, for Nick to say that, I mean, Nick's tremendous guy, tremendous speaker himself. It means a lot that he would say that. And then more agents started tweeting him, and more agents and more friends, and I was absolutely, positively blown away. And I tried to respond to every one of the tweets and message people on the side, and one of Gary's people reached out to me and asked me to email them and to set up a call for today to talk about speaking at Agent 2021, which is Gary's insurance conference. I did that, and I had the call at 10 a.m. But there's more to this story. First, we gotta go fly this drone. Taking Chip, see Chip right there, Vin, taking them on their first drone experience here in downtown Hartford. Being that 2 episodes ago I wrecked my Mavic Pro, it's a little windy today, but since I got the boss here, if we wreck it, it'll be his fault, and we'll just get another one.
There's no place I can go. There's no place I can go.
So we did well. We did not crash the drone, although it is freezing cold out here in Hartford. It's got to be 30 degrees. So droning in 30-degree weather is not as much fun as droning in 80-degree weather, but the boss, we didn't drop the drone.
I'm very happy.
We did go over water.
We still have our drone.
Yeah, we still have our drone. So we're good, and now I'm gonna head back upstairs, do some emailing, and finish my story about about Gary Vaynerchuk. So here's the setup on this thing. My first meeting was at Hartford Steam Boiler this morning, and my appointment to talk to VaynerMedia was actually at 10 a.m. So show up at Hartford Steam Boiler, we have a great meeting with them, went wonderfully, and left Hartford Steam Boiler and got on the phone. Now, one thing I'll say, and Chip and Vinny Savarese, who I'm here with in Hartford doing these meetings, have been busting my chops all day. Chip, how do you feel about the fact that Gary Vaynerchuk's people didn't know who I was?
I'm glad. I think that helps to put your ego in the proper perspective. I
haven't booked a speaking gig in a long time where the people didn't know who I was. I've been doing this for a long time in the insurance space, and most of the time, but 99.9% of the time, when someone reaches out to me to come speak at their event, they know who I am. They've seen my work. They're reaching out to me for a reason. Well, guys, with VaynerMedia, that wasn't the case. So here's what today's episode is about. I had this call, right? So I have this 10 a.m. call, and I do the meeting with Hartford Steam Boiler. I get on the phone. Now, the two people I'm speaking to, one of the women's name was Kim, the other was Emma, and Kim is actually partners with Gary and Vayner Experience, the events portion of Gary Vaynerchuk's media company, VaynerMedia. I get on the phone with them, and it's been a long time since I really had to sell myself as a speaker inside the industry. And Kim and Emma came in cold. They didn't know me. They had seen some of the recommendations. They had seen, obviously, the tweets. But it was obvious from the jump that they did not know my work. They were not familiar with it. And frankly, nor should they have been, really. I have a certain presentation or that I give over the phone. Presentation may be the wrong word, but I have a sequence of things that I say and how I talk about how I present, and there's certain nomenclature and certain examples and stories that I give during when I'm talking to someone about a potential speaking gig inside our industry that I'm very accustomed to, and I know they're gonna work. I know they're gonna relate to the event organizer, because I ultimately know they're gonna relate to the audience. I gave those same examples to Emma and Kim, and I wasn't sure if they connected. So I came into this meeting about as excited and as high as I've ever been, right? I was basically vibrating with excitement for the opportunity to speak at this conference. I just really wanted this. And I had prepared in my mind, and amazing Jeff Roy had actually coached me up a little bit this morning. And what was really interesting to me, and this is, well, I'll get to the point here in a second. What was really interesting was that when the stories didn't hit the same way as they always did, I wasn't prepared for that mentally. So I know when I say something like, insurance isn't about client acquisition, it's about client retention, it's about experience, and it's about building a customer experience that ultimately doesn't just get people to sign that first policy, but gets them to stay with your agency for 3, 5, 10 years. That's where the money is made in the insurance industry. And during my presentation, I'm gonna help your audience get a better idea of how to do that, the tools, the language. When I say just that little snippet, that's something I've said dozens of times to event organizers. When I say that snippet, there's usually an audible response, and I always get, Ryan, that's what we're looking for. And I know that's gonna connect with the event organizer. But Emma and Kim aren't insurance industry professionals, they're marketing professionals putting on an event that includes an insurance element. So that story didn't connect with them in the same way. And I could tell immediately, and I was not mentally prepared for that. And I'll tell you, the call did not go as well as I would have liked. I feel like I hit my points, but when I hung up the phone, it was 27 minutes long. The call was 27 minutes long. When I hung up the phone, I was kind of depressed. I hadn't done my best work. I hadn't presented myself in the way that I really wanted to present myself, or in the way that I knew I could. And that's not a good feeling. It's just really not a good feeling. And I've been down. I've really been down. I hadn't felt that way in a long time. I've been blessed in that I win a lot. Whether that's selling, marketing, whatever. And when I got off that call, I was worried that I had messed up a really big opportunity. Alright, it's tomorrow, and I want to give you guys an update on Gary Vaynerchuk's Agent 2021. So I had the call yesterday, and they told me they'd get back to me in a week. They got back to me in 2 hours. Speaking at Agent 2021. Boom! Very pumped, like super pumped, like ridiculously pumped. And let me tell you why. I just wanted it. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted it. I wanted to do something. I wanted to prove that I could speak about insurance outside of our world. And 2 hours later, I got the email. Boom! So pumped. I've spent a lot of time yesterday and today, this morning, thinking about, one, why did I want this gig so bad? And I think it had to do with something different. You know, it was something I hadn't done before. Selling myself to someone who I wasn't a known commodity to was very exciting. It was very interesting. And the second part was that feeling that I didn't do my best work. I was so high going into this call, and then I didn't love the way the call went, and I was low. I went from way up here to way down here. That's a really terrible feeling. But it was also awesome. It was also incredibly invigorating, because you have to put yourself in different situations, right? You can't do the same thing over and over again. But I think that's part of the trick. I think it's scary. It was scary. That phone call was scary. And if I didn't get it, I would have been very disappointed. I think it's healthy to be nervous. I think it's healthy to be scared. I think it's healthy to be uncomfortable. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the point. This phone call, trying to sell myself to someone who had no idea what I had ever done, the work that I had ever done. They had no idea who I was coming into the call other than I had been recommended to them. It was very uncomfortable. And now that I've experienced that feeling, the next time I have to do that, it won't be as uncomfortable. So maybe what I'm asking you, maybe this is the point of the last 24 hours of my life, is that I need to put myself into more uncomfortable situations, because that's gonna help me grow as a person. And what I'm saying to you is, it might make sense to do the same. And maybe that's what digital is. Maybe that's marketing and sales and all the stuff that we talk about at Agency Nation. Maybe really what I'm asking you is to be intentionally uncomfortable.
If they show love, I'ma show it back. If the catch is too small, I'ma throw it back. I've done a lot, but I ain't got a lot to show for that. Alright, yeah, let's do that again. If they show love, I'ma show it back. If the catch is too small, I'ma throw it back. I've done a lot, but I ain't got a lot to show for that. Alright, yeah, let's get into it. A lot of things have happened since we last spoke. Like smash hopes, half empty, now this glass is broke. And I'm the captain of this crash boat. So when it's time to sink or swim, I always choose to do the backflip.